enjoy a creamy Biscoff shake or a smooth sweet Biscoff sundae or cone. SpongeBob Biscoff and flame grilled favorites. Only at Burger King. Your way every day.
Now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Everywhere.
Can you hear me now? Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yes, right from your Android or iPhone. Download the Radio Cayman app now on your Android or iOS phone.
The Radio Cayman app
is where you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Doctor's Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. Kirk Market, experience a world of choice. JN Money, from abroad to Yad. And Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is For the Record.
And now, your host, Orrett.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Friday, the 20th day of March 2026, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on our roads, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, we want to wish you a happy birthday or a happy belated birthday, whichever is applicable, and to remind you that For the Record birthday shout out proudly brought to you and supported by Coca-Cola and the Credit Union. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands. You should accept no substitutes. From generation to generation, Coca-Cola is still a Cayman classic. And the Credit Union. Credit Union looks forward to serving the Cayman community for the next 50 years and beyond. Those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. And again this morning, big shout out to our colleague right here at Radio Cayman, Mr. Joel Wilson. Hope you have a great day and a great weekend as well. And before I add to my opening comments in wishing everyone a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend, today being the 20th of March is also celebrated as the United Nations International Day of Happiness. And social media and happiness. So this here is the theme. This year's theme explores the relationship between social media and happiness, highlighting the potential challenges for our well-being as well as ways that we can use technology for good. There's no one right way to use social media, but small, thoughtful choices about how we use it and how we treat each other online can make a real difference. When we act collectively, we can build a happier, kinder world online and offline. The association between social media and well-being is also the theme of this year's upcoming World Happiness Report, which was published yesterday on the 19th of March, and I believe that Finland tops the list as the happiest country in the world. I will double check that, for you as well. So today is International Day of Happiness. So what's that song again? Be happy, Paul. How does it go? Yes. Don't worry, be happy. Yes, be happy today. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy and sometimes dangerous roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and the management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host. My name is Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. This morning, it is the radio voice of Silver Fox, Mr. Paul Akal, waiting to take your calls, as that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson is not here today. She is taking a well-deserved break. And of course, I will let the secret out now. Her birthday will be next week, Wednesday. She will be celebrating her birthday next week, Wednesday, as well. So, you're welcome to join me here this morning. First of all, I will tell you the guests who will be in the studio later on. After our 8 o'clock news, we will have Minister Honorable Myles, who has responsibility for Caymanian employment and immigration. Also in the studio, will be in the studio with us, Director of Work, Mr. Jeremy Scott, Deputy Director of Work for Compliance and Enforcement, Mr. Mervin Manderson. We will also have the Department of Labor and Pensions Deputy Director, Miss Amy Wolliston, as well in the studio with us. They will be here with us from 8:15 until 10 o'clock. I am sure at some point in time the phone lines will be open. You will get an opportunity to call in. Meanwhile, if you have questions or comments, we welcome you to send those to our WhatsApp number, 925-3261, where I can share those with the minister and his team. I'm going to ask you to please try to make them as short as possible, because we want to fill in get as many in as possible as well. So, we want you to be succinct in terms of either your statements or the question that you may be asking as well. So let's look again at the For the Record birthday shout-outs. And if you know someone who's celebrating a birthday or any other momentous occasion, please share that information with us right here on For the Record, and we will give them a shout-out. So we see that Mr. Jeffrey Wilson will be celebrating his birthday tomorrow, the 21st of March, as well as C. John Clark, Mary Rose Turner on the 22nd, J.D. Banks on the 22nd, and Brett Linton on the 22nd. I have a few more, another one here. Let me get that for you. Miss Ingrid Harris is celebrating her birthday today. Also, Sharon Bodden Downs celebrating a birthday. Okay, yes, there's another thing that will be taking place at 7:46 this morning. That's about less than 4 minutes away. The sun reaches the equator, starting the spring solstice. So the spring solstice will start in less than 3 minutes as the sun reaches the equator. We do have a caller on phone, but what we're going to do, Paul, let's take the commercial break first. This way we don't have to interrupt the caller to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Charles Alexander Barnes. Charlie Barnes was the son of Jack and Ellen Barnes of St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. He worked on the Panama Canal in the 1930s driving a dump truck. In the late 1930s or early 40s, he came to Cayman from Honduras and started the island's first bakery on Shedden Road next to the Barclays Bank. During World War II, he supplied the U.S. Navy base and visiting warships with bread. He married the former Ormond McField, with whom he had 6 children. In 1946, he introduced the first bus to Cayman and used it to transport church members to Sunday school and children to school, as well as to carry people to social events such as dances. He was proud of having cooked for the Duke of Edinburgh when he visited Cayman in the 1960s. Charlie was best known, however, for his popular Buttonwood Club on Shedden Road, a recreational center where people of all ages convened socially.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Saturday, April 18th, will be the gathering of the future. The gathering of budding scientists, budding botanists, budding engineers, budding medical specialists, marine biologists, systems architects, and much, much more. The Rotary Central Dr. Bill Rudy's Science Fair will be at the Arc Commander Bay, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. The gathering of the future. Students from over 15 schools across Cayman. Save the date, April 18th. The Rotary Central Dr. Bill Rudy Science Fair, sponsored by CUC, supported by the Cayman Motor Federation. Sign up today. RotaryScienceFair.ky. The future is sparking.
When you join the credit union, you're not just a customer. You're a member owner with one equal vote. As we celebrate 50 years, our members continue to share the benefits. Enjoy strong dividends on shares, competitive loan rates, and the lowest lending fees on the market. Plus, we're the only lender returning up to 2% of loan interest to our members every year. For 50 years, we've helped Caymanians save, borrow, and build brighter futures. That's the credit union difference. Visit creditunion.ky to learn more.
Yeah, let me tell you, no AC when I was a boy. I still remember just how good an ice cold Coca-Cola was.
The part is, the coolest moms and dads always had Coca-Cola or parties.
The sound when you pop the top, and the fizzle, and that, after that first sip.
Coca-Cola, from generation to generation, that ice cold bubbly. Coca-Cola, still a Cayman classic.
Hey, new drivers, don't just drive, drive smart. Cynical and Inspire Cayman's Safe Driver program will show you how. Get real-life simulator training and classroom sessions to help you gain experience, stay alert, and avoid accidents. Learn to recognize risk, manage fatigue, and make smart choices behind the wheel. Certified participants may even pay less for Cynical motor insurance. Learn more and register at cynical.ky. Cynical, keeping Cayman covered.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. urgent care right now.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN Money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to our phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Well, see, we spoke briefly on the idea of the deputy governor. That job is now coming up to be transferred to somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke that I think it's the Constitution. It says it should be a Caymanian, right? But when that was established, that order, we didn't know then what we know now, right? Because, like we say, every Tom, Dick, and Harry now is a Caymanian, and we have.
Oh, we knew it. We knew it then too, because we had already had those 2,400 and something grants in 2003, so we knew.
Okay, so we should have gone a little further then, and take it to another level, where we should have said not only Caymanians, but generational Cayman. That need to be amended, because right now it carries no weight. Where if you want to award a Caymanian the job, so right now it carries no weight the way it is, right? So we need to take it to another level and say a generational Caymanian. I would also like to make sure, or to move something similar to Elio motion, where we start making sure that there's only generational Caymanian in the HR department, because I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed then that the people now that are in HR are basically looking out and hiring people that are from wherever they come from. They're looking out for their individuals. And at the end of the day, we'll see if a Caymanian are denied a job, right, a generational Caymanian, he will probably go to social media and make a little noise or something like that, and then that's it. But if there's a paper Caymanian who have denied a job, they will go as far as making a judge decide our fate with that job. That's how far they will take it. So I think we need to start looking also into making the HR department generational Caymanians also, because civil servants, like they like to brag that we are a world-class civil servant, but I think we have created world-class jobs for a lot of outsiders.
So when you talk about HR, you're talking about in government or government and the private sector as well?
You'll see if we could push it right across the board, it would be nice, right? Because I know of many people will see. I know people will see that come here and get qualification off the internet, but yet a Caymanian who have a legit qualification were turned down for the job because of the connection within the HR. You see?
But you know also some people will tell you that your own flea will bite you the hardest sometimes.
Yeah, that too. That too. We need a bite, and what we need to do, spray some bacon, put some bacon on that flea. There's a way to take care of that flea, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so we need to also look at that too. You know, so that's the thinking of me today, that we need to protect by making sure that we get at least a board or something like that, that is not just one person decision. You know?
Yeah, and speaking of our Constitution, one of the criticisms that we have of our Constitution, some people may say, well, maybe it isn't, and it can be looked at two different ways. But we failed to define Caymanian in our Constitution. We failed to do that. And
we took the easy way out.
The easy way out, which basically said
immigration, throw down immigration.
Right, exactly. Now the counter argument to that is that you can always change the immigration law.
Right. That was the good part about that.
Easier to change the immigration law than it is to change
the Constitution, right?
Precisely.
So that, but then, you see, we do have that option, right? Which would be the easiest way out. But do we have anyone among those 19 people that we always elect that would take that on? And if we get one person to take it on, how much people would support that individual? You know? So yeah, we're getting especially the your guests that are coming on, you know, have been talking about certain things now that now is being watered down. Us, the public out here, thinking now that all those expectations that we had are not going to come to
more to come. More to come. Lot more to come. You got to take it all in stride.
Well, see, I hope so. You know. I hope so.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope so.
I feel quite optimistic.
I'm not only just a big mouth, you know. I'm a revolutionist too, you know. You know what I mean?
Yep. Got you. All right.
Gail Scott Heron. You familiar with him?
Yes. The revolution will not be televised. Do you know he's?
Yeah. See.
Do you know he's of Jamaican descent, right?
Right. And it's only people like me and you that knows about him, you know. And Pierre Newton and the likes.
Yes.
All the other one. No, Kim. I don't want to even think about that, or read their books, or listen to their recordings. Stokely Carmichael, out of Trinidad.
Yep.
Yeah, I know all those guys.
Yep.
Read about all of them. So, Angela Davis. I see where a lot of Caymanians used to praise Ronald Reagan. Oh, see, I know about him when he was governor of California, where he fired Angela Davis just because from UCLA, just because she accepted an invitation from Castro. She was a professor at UCLA, and he fired her just because she accepted an invitation. So all that Ronald Reagan kicking up and thing and support him.
Yep. Lord Graham, thank you very much. I'm sure that you'll be listening in to the minister, and if you have any questions or comments, you know, please feel free to share them with us. Okay.
Later.
Thank you. Before we go, I just want to remind our listeners and our viewers that there will be a female farmers and artistry market taking place in the Glass House Lawn this morning from 11 until 5 p.m. Female Farmers Market and Artistry. I think I that word is kind of like twisted up there, the way that the design is. But yes, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. So go out there and support them. Speaking of the happiness, International Day of Happiness, the top 10 countries for happiness: Finland number 1, Iceland number 2, Denmark number 3, Costa Rica number 4, Sweden number 5, Norway number 6, Netherlands 7, Israel 8, amazing, Luxembourg 9, and Switzerland 10. Jamaica came in around about 49. The United Kingdom, they were in the 40s. United States 23rd, and the United Kingdom was somewhere in the mix there as well. So folks, remember, we will have our guests in the studio after the 8 o'clock news. You want to spread the word out there to family, friends, and neighbor that the Honorable Myles, Minister with responsibility for Caymanian employment and immigration, along with his team, Work Director Mr. Jeremy Scott, Work Deputy Director for Compliance and Enforcement Mr. Mervin Manderson, and also the Department of Labor and Pensions Deputy Director Miss Amy Wolliston will be in the studio with us. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Caymanbrack and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. It was a full agenda for Cabinet at their March 12th meeting, while their Cayman's leaders approved the Hemington Forest Management Plan, as well as several road-related matters, including a proposed new public road in Frank Sound, road improvements, and a potential new road in West Bay. They also approved the transfer of a private road in Northside to Crown land. At this meeting, they greenlit a piece of housekeeping legislation, the Auditor's Oversight Amendment Validation and Repeal Bill, for onward submission to Parliament. That bill, if passed by MPs, will correct the, quote, statutory basis for the establishment of a board of directors for the Auditor's Oversight Authority, as well as the appointment of the managing director. It also, quote, validates any action of the board of directors while improperly constituted. Finally, Cabinet noted the reconstruction and membership of the Mass Migration Committee. Cayman's tourism sector tests its readiness in the face of a tsunami on Thursday. CIG TV's Lavita Thompson reports.
Caribe Wave is a regional exercise with the Cayman Islands serving as one of the highest represented per capita, with over 9,000 participants registered. This year's exercise focused on the tourism and hospitality sector and brought together partners from the Kimpton Seafire Resort and Spa, Hotel Indigo, and the Bonnie Moon Beach Club, with the assistance of the Ministry and Department of Tourism. HMCI's Community Engagement Officer Tiffany Young explains more.
Protection of our residents and visitors are a national priority. We've partnered with a plethora of staff at individual locations. This is from bartenders, facilities management, greeters, engineers. Everyone is participating to practice how they notify guests and vertically evacuating guests to higher ground. By higher ground, we mean second floor or above in a concrete building.
Jan Gillette, General Manager for the Kimpton Seafire, gave insights on how the exercise went from his perspective.
Well, the best part is also to reassure everyone that Cayman Island got it. We know how to respond in case of such incident, especially for someone like me that I've been in the situations where I've seen the 2004 tsunami in the Indian Ocean is really reassuring our guests or reassuring our colleagues, our visitors, everyone from the island that we know how to operate and how to control in case of such an incident.
This year, HMCI conducted a mock version of the National Emergency Operations Committee, or NEOC, to examine how the exercise was going in real time.
For more information, you can head to caymanprepared.ky. And it's a big weekend for Honoring Women Month. This morning at 8:30 a.m., there will be a special #Give to Gain International Women's Day celebration at Hotel Indigo. And if you're in town, you can pop by the Female Farmers and Artisans Market at the Glass House Lawn. That'll be from 11 a.m. to 5 today. The Family Resource Center also has some events this weekend.
Our Women in Gardening workshop, which will be this Saturday, so there is still some space for that, thanks to Pro Plus. And there is the Women and Their Wheels car care workshop, thanks to Gender Affairs Unit and Superior Auto, which is also this Saturday.
And FRC's Anne-Marie Diaz says there's still some time for you to lace up for the Color Me Purple 5K on Sunday morning.
We're starting at the 7 Mile Public Beach parking lot. We would love to see as many supporters come on out. And if you're a late registrant and you still want to go ahead and show up, we'll take you.
You can register for that by heading to racecaribbean.com. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller.
BBC News with Danielle Yawowiecka. Drone strikes have damaged Kuwait's largest oil refinery as Iran continues to target energy sites across the Gulf. There have also been attacks in the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. In Israel, the operators of a refinery in Haifa that was hit on Thursday say they expect it to be back in operation within days. Israel has again been bombarding Tehran with heavy explosions reported across the Iranian capital. The Revolutionary Guard Corps says its spokesman, Ali Mohammad Naini, has been killed. The International Energy Agency has urged governments to cut road speed limits by 10 kilometres an hour because of disruption to fuel supplies caused by the war. It also urged people to avoid air travel and to work from home. In other news, the patent on the key ingredient of the weight loss drugs Wegovy and Ozempic expires today in India, paving the way for cheaper copies. India is the world's biggest supplier of low-cost and generic medicines. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Saturday, April 18th, will be the gathering of the future. The gathering of budding scientists, budding botanists, budding engineers, budding medical specialists, marine biologists, systems architects, and much, much more. The Rotary Central Dr. Bill Rudy Science Fair will be at the Arc Commander Bay, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. The gathering of the future. Students from over 15 schools across Cayman. Save the date, April 18th. The Rotary Central Dr. Bill Rudy Science Fair, sponsored by CUC, supported by the Cayman Motor Federation. Sign up today. RotaryScienceFair.ky. The future is sparking.
It's back. It's crispy. It's delicious. St. Ignatius Youth Ministry presents Friday Fish Fry Nights. 5 weeks of flavor. February 27, March 6, 13th, 20th, and the 27th. Serving from 5 until 7:30 p.m. at the St. Ignatius School Canteen. Dine in or take out. Menu includes fried or baked snapper $17 or mai $15. Served with fries or rice, coleslaw, escovitch, fritters, and more. Drinks just $1. Free desserts while they last. Eat good, do good. Every bite supports our youth ministry trip to the Steubenville High School Youth Conference in Orlando, Florida this summer. Come hungry, leave happy. See you there.
Sports. Stay up to date on your sports news with Radio Cayman Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., 6 p.m., and 10 p.m. It's all about sports.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
All right, good morning, Cayman. Let's take a look at your weather. Got some scattered cloudy conditions on the outside. And sun is peeking through. Present temperature now 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are out of the north at 8 miles per hour. Relative humidity about 76%. And the barometric pressure is at 29.88 inches and dropping. Synopsis: cloudiness and some showers are expected this morning, with a decrease by this afternoon as a surface trough behind a stationary front drifts over the Cayman area. Fresh northerly winds along with moderate to rough seas are expected from today as a high pressure system builds over the southeast United States and tightens the pressure gradient across the northwest Caribbean. Some swells and wave activity are likely to continue along the northern and western coasts. Small craft advisory is in effect. Our forecast calls for cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers this morning, becoming partly cloudy with a lesser chance of showers by the afternoon. Temperatures will rise near the low 80s. Winds will be north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots. Seas will be moderate to rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet with northwesterly swells. Small craft advisory is in effect. Later this evening, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall near the low to mid 70s. Winds will be north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots. Seas will be moderate to rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet with northwesterly swells. Small craft advisory will remain in effect. High tide is coming up in the next hour at 9:48. It's going to be low at 4:18 this afternoon and high at 10:54 tonight. Sunset later on today at 6:35. And the outlook is for continued fresh winds along with moderate to rough seas over the weekend, with a decrease in these conditions by Monday as the associated high pressure system weakens. A small craft advisory will remain in effect through the weekend. And that, my friends, is your latest weather update brought to you by our good friends at CG Britcay.
On Angie, how does it feel to have broken the bull riding world record?
Sore, Sean. That bull was angry.
Angie, I think that bull is headed towards your red convertible.
I broke the world record and he broke my car. Oh well, at least I've got CG Comprehensive Motor to cover this.
Get covered for collision, damage, and more. CG Britcay. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
Craving something bold, juicy, and packed with flavor? Introducing KFC's new crispy barbecue sandwich served on a soft, buttery brioche bun. That's 100% KFC premium chicken breast, perfectly crispy, deliciously smoky with crispy onions, cheddar cheese, and barbecue sauce. Just the right amount of messy in the best way possible. Stacked with layers of bold KFC flavor, this sandwich is your new obsession. But hurry, it's only at KFC for a limited time. So what are you waiting for? Get yours today at any of the 3 KFC locations on island. KFC, finger licking good, just got bolder.
The 7:20 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Credit Union, on the road to 50 years of serving our members. Visit creditunion.ky to join today.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Let's take a brief look at the traffic situation. Of course, out in the east-west arterial, traffic is cleared up, but getting to the Red Bay roundabout, still see some of that traffic, especially also at the Century 21 roundabout. Going through South Sound, free flow of traffic until you meet some traffic, slow-moving traffic along the way. And into Walker's Road or continuing through South Church Street, you'll experience that traffic flow. Similar with those heading on to the CUC roundabout with the new roadway works, and heading on to the Linford Pearson, getting to the first roundabout, you'll run into some traffic. Similar with those heading along Crew Road, seeing some traffic as well. Slow moving. Agnes Way, seeing that traffic as well, and getting to the Bobby Thompson Way, still also seeing that traffic. Traffic is also crawling onto Huldah Avenue, getting to the C&B roundabout, and then starts to slowly clear up as you get past there. Onto Thomas Russell Way up to the Butterfield roundabout. And at the Butterfield roundabout, we see some slow-moving traffic coming off the Astley Tibbetts. Slow-moving traffic heading towards the Butterfield roundabout. Godfrey Nixon Way, North Sound Road, seeing some light traffic as well. Dorsey Drive. Light traffic along Roberts Drive if you caught your flight this morning. Hope you did. And most streets in Georgetown taking in the influx of traffic. Looking at Edward Streets, good bit of northbound traffic there. Seafarers Way, seeing some of that traffic as well, especially heading northward towards Norchard Street and heading up to West Bay Road. Lots of pedestrian movement on the West Bay Road itself. Seeing a lot of visitors doing their morning exercises. Be cautious of them. Looking out from the Ritz-Carlton, things are moving smoothly along West Bay Road. Getting up to West Bay, the four-way stop, things are moving smoothly as well. Leslie Tibbetts, some traffic in some areas as expected. Keeping Bracken, Little Cayman, light traffic this time of the morning. Hey, be safe out there on the roads. Take your time. Don't want to hear about no fender benders or anything like that. Look out for those on e-scooters, e-bikes, motorbikes, bicycles. Look out for our visiting pedestrians with 2 cruise ships in the Spots Dock area. Have yourself a great day, Cayman, and a weekend. Your traffic report brought to you by good friends at Subway.
Craving something new? Dive into Subway's new seafood subs. 3 recipes inspired by the flavors of the coast, including the crunchy seafood bliss, the scrumptious chipotle tuna crunch, and the delicious breaded fish and ranch sub, made with our new breaded fish nuggets. Subway's new seafood subs. 3 recipes made to rock the boat. Only at Subway.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
For the Health of It, heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. Brought to you by UHealth International, University of Miami Health System. International patients go to UHealth International for consultations with renowned physicians, advanced treatment technologies, leading-edge medical therapies, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures. Whatever your particular reason for going to UHealth International, you will receive customized medical care delivered within a compassionate, multicultural setting. The care you need when you need it.
K-Fest 2026 is in full swing, celebrating poetry, film, dance, concerts, visual arts, and so much more. Follow Cayman Culture Socials to see it all. It all culminates on Saturday, March 21st with Red Sky at Night, happening at the Harkwell Theatre grounds, featuring local art, crafts, live music, dance, storytelling, interactive activities, and more. It's an event for the whole family. Pre-sale tickets are just $10 adults and $5 for children. Visit ticketsplus.ky to secure yours today. Red Sky at Night, the grand finale at K-Fest 2026.
Sponsored by Ministry of Culture, Camana Bay, Coca-Cola, Webster's Tours, What's On, and Radio Cayman.
We give you honor and praise, adoration and glory.
Radio Cayman.
Praise time.
Praise him, praise him. Come and let's praise the Lord. Come and let's praise the Lord. Praise him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise him, praise him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the blues of my faith. Rock my soul in the blues of my faith.
Praise time.
I know he cares. He'll always be there. Oh, yeah. Praise him, praise him, praise him.
Praise time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have a full house in the studio this morning. We'll be doing the introductions soon. Just want to give a big shout out here. Special birthday greetings going to Miss Linda Allen today, March the 20th. They hope that she will live to see many, many more. And yeah, what's interesting, when we look on the March of last year, had a similar message as well. So Miss Linda Allen, they keep you right on schedule as far as your birthday is concerned. So folks, as a part of his continuing effort to keep the people of the Cayman Islands informed in terms of what is taking place, how those entities under his responsibility are performing. It's my pleasure to have in the studio with me again this morning Honorable Myles, Minister with responsibility for Caymanian employment and immigration. He has brought with him in the studio WORC Director, Mr. Jeremy Scott, WORC Deputy Director for Compliance and Enforcement, Mr. Mervin Manderson, and the Deputy Director of the Department of Labor and Pensions, Ms. Amy Wolliston. Folks, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Okay, Minister Myles, I'm going to hand it right over to you, sir.
I want to thank you again. We're continuing on a sort of informational session, awareness session for the listening audience. One of the things that I've been speaking to my team about is, we are tackling a lot of things, and the more awareness we bring to the public, my hope is that the more the public gets involved and help us solve a lot of the mischief that continues to happen in our country. A lot of this stuff is also illegal of what we have folks doing, and before it becomes more rampant, we want to continue to bring this to the forefront. So I have my senior leaders here from DLP to immigration, because there are some serious things that's happening in our country that ultimately, if we don't diffuse or try to contain in some way, this stuff is going to cost us hundreds of millions of dollars in the future. All of this stuff surrounds labor enforcement in some way, immigration enforcement. But Ms. Amy will tell you there's a growing number of folks that we are very concerned about that's now happening on the pension side, and how that sort of materializes on a national level is that we are now paying for a lot of that through, indigent health insurance, through long-term assistance, through people who can't retire, and or once they do retire, they don't have the money in order to sustain themselves. So the government is having to pick up really a number of different gaps within their financial issues that they're struggling with. So I know sometimes people believe that we're just sitting on our hands and not doing a lot. The director of immigration and the deputy director will also kind of give us an overview on the hundreds of cases that they are having to investigate. I certainly, and the government, can't afford, to give them an army of people to do all of this work. So we are stretched and doing certainly the best job we possibly can. But I also believe that the public also have a responsibility that when they see these things, they need to come forward and also help us resolve a lot of these cases. We can't say that we want to have a safer, more compliant country, but no one wants to come forward and help us assist. I want to, before I hand it over to the team, I also want to inform the listening public that one of the amendments that were made in December's immigration 2025 reform was forcing 14 government departments to work together. So, this wasn't done because we just want people just to work together. It was done because these good folks need information from at least 13 other departments. We have to have that information for them to actually do their jobs to the best of their ability. We also have immigration boards. Simi can tell you that we have a pension board that is going to be reliant on information in order for us to do our jobs, to enforce the law and to ensure that, folks are receiving the levels of investigative, I would say, in investigative efficiencies that we have at our sort of demeanor at this point. So I'm going to hand it over. I know I'd really love for Ms. Eamon to go first because ultimately, there's a lot of really great things. The pension reform is coming. She's been instrumental in helping us move that through. I'm hoping by next week that gets to caucus, and then we're out to public consultation. But the goal right now is for her, for her to sort of unearth some of the things that she's seeing within the community that we really need to get a hold of.
Certainly. Micheal, it's been quite a while that I haven't had you on the show.
This is very true. I have not been on your show in quite some time.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank Minister for the invitation to join him today.
Okay.
Just building on something Minister said, people have the perception that they really can't do anything in the process of noncompliance if they observe it, and that's a myth. Because as an employee, you are empowered under the legislation. You have the right to come to DLP, make a complaint. Everybody should know by now, the law has been in effect for 25 years, that every employer in the Cayman Islands is obligated to have a pension plan. Either they have their own pension plan, and there are some employers that have their own, but most of them enroll in what we call a multi-employer plan, which is the Chambers, the Silver Thatches, the Island Heritages, right? Most employers are enrolled in one of those. Every employee should be enrolled in one of those plans, eligible employee, I should say. Caymanians are eligible immediately. The first day you start working, you are eligible. Whether you're there for, 3 months or 3 days, you're still eligible, right? So every permanent resident also eligible immediately, okay? Work permit holders, a bit more complicated because there is a window of 9 months when they become eligible, assuming it's their first 9 months working on the island. So just going back to my point about they have powers under the Act, they have responsibilities under the Act to actually look for, okay, have I gotten my enrollment form from my employer? Okay, which plan am I actually with? Okay, now I know I got a form, I signed my form, I am now with this plan. Okay, let me go to the plan now and make sure. Can I ask for a statement, please? I want to see, did my employer make my payments? Those payments are supposed to be made by the 15th of the following month. I know that's very confusing for people. So let me just use an example. January contributions are due on the 15th of February. Okay. That's when they are due. You, as an employee, as a member, you can go to your pension plan and say, okay, I know my employer was supposed to make a payment. Can I check and make sure you've actually received said payment? A lot of them are embracing technology, and they all have websites and portals, and you can log in. You don't have to physically go and see, okay, is there any money there yet? Do I know what's going on? There's also responsibility for, as a member, flip side of that, you also have the ability to attend an annual general meeting, which is actually an opportunity as a member to learn more about the plan itself, to ask questions about the plan itself. That's all already enshrined in the legislation. That's not anything new. It's already been there. All of these options are available to people, but unfortunately they don't use them, which is really an important part. Just going to Minister's point about how people need to participate in the process. Yes, government has its responsibility. I'm not in any way changing that. Government has its responsibility for enforcement, but people have a part to play. One of the ways I look at it, it's like a puzzle. A puzzle has parts, okay? One part is the employer. The other part is the employee. The other part is government, and the other part is the pension administrator. You need the 4 pieces. And if all the 4 pieces are not together, it doesn't work.
Okay. So most people would be curious to know in terms of payment, who pays what?
Okay. So the contribution rate under the legislation is 10% in total. That's the mandatory contributions, all right? So the law allows, but does not require, allows the employer to deduct 5 from the employee. So the employee, he deducts 5 from the employee, he pays 5, right? That's 10. That goes to the pension plan administrator, okay? Why I said allows is because we always spend our time talking about the bad employers. We rarely recognize the good ones.
And so there are some good ones.
There are some good ones. So let me use an example. I won't name a company. Let me use an example. There are some companies where the employer will pay the full 10%. The employee pays nothing. Just because the position you have in the company, you're a good employee, excellent performer, they pay the 10%. Some will pay $6 and you pay $4. Others will also pay, I'm going to pay your $5, you pay your $5. And guess what? If you want to pay extra, I'll match your extra. Okay?
Yeah.
So they're each paying $5, and then something under the legislation is called additional voluntary contributions, which basically means it's more than what the law requires. That's all it means, right? And the employer will say, okay, if you want to pay extra, I'll pay extra. So the employer said, okay, let me pop in another 2. And the employer said, okay, I'll pop in another 2. And all of a sudden, you've gone from 10 to 14, just like that. So you do have good employers. We just spend our time, unfortunately, dealing with the bad ones.
Okay. We have about 2 minutes before we go. Could you speak to the importance, of having a pension as well? Why it's so important?
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, we need to, unlike many other countries, Cayman does not have any tax system. We don't have a social security system. We don't have any of those, right? Not criticizing, just saying that's our reality, right? As a result of that, the only thing that we have is a pension system, right? And therefore, everything falls on the pension system. The purpose of pensions is for income replacement in retirement. That's the purpose. When you are no longer able to physically go to work every day and get your paycheck from whomever, you have this nest egg that you can rely on. That's the purpose of a pension plan. That's why it is so critically important, because the other structures that some jurisdictions have, we do not. And it's critically important that people pay their pension, monitor their pension, and employers be compliant.
Excellent. With that, we're going to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Hey, new drivers, don't just drive, drive smart. Cynical and Inspire Cayman's Safe Driver program will show you how. Get real-life simulator training and classroom sessions to help you gain experience, stay alert, and avoid accidents. Learn to recognize risk, manage fatigue, and make smart choices behind the wheel. Certified participants may even pay less for Cynical motor insurance. Learn more and register at cynical.ky. Cynical, keeping Cayman covered.
Babe, not tonight. You keep poking me and I need to be rested for meetings tomorrow.
What? I was almost asleep. That's the mattress spring I keep telling you about, not me. We really need to get a new mattress.
Tossing and turning, back hurting, can't sleep? It might be time to turn in your old mattress and go to bed with a new one. Browse the huge mattress showroom at Brand Source Home Gallery and pick the perfect mattress today. With mattresses to suit every budget, Brand Source Home Gallery stocks a wide selection of sizes and styles like pillow top and gel memory foam. So stop tossing and turning and sleep better tonight with a new mattress from Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
What matters most to you right now? The cost of living, housing, jobs, healthcare, safety? The Cayman Islands government has set 7 national priorities for 2026 to 2028, focused on areas that affect daily life, from preparing Caymanians for opportunity, to improving quality of life and social stability, to strengthening Cayman's long-term resilience. Learn more about the 7 broad outcomes at gov.ky/priorities. 7 priorities, 1 Cayman.
Ready to launch your career in hospitality?
If you're an ambitious young Caymanian, the DART Hospitality Training Program is your opportunity to shine.
This paid 4-month program gives you hands-on experience at world-class properties like Kimpton Seafire, the Ritz-Carlton, Hotel Indigo, Hampton by Hilton, and Bonnie Moon Beach Club.
Plus, DART has partnered with Lynn University to deliver an intensive 2-week hospitality curriculum from an accredited institution.
Gain real-world experience, learn from the industry leaders, and open doors to full-time careers in hospitality.
Applications close April 6, 2026, with programs starting May 2026.
Apply now at dart.ky/hospitality.
K-Fest 2026 is in full swing, celebrating poetry, film, dance, concerts, visual arts, and so much more. Follow Cayman Culture Socials to see it all. It all culminates on Saturday, March 21st with Red Sky at Night, happening at the Harkwell Theatre grounds, featuring local art, crafts, live music, dance, storytelling, interactive activities, and more. It's an event for the whole family. Pre-sale tickets are just $10 adults and $5 for children. Visit ticketsplash.ky to secure yours today. Red Sky at Night, the grand finale at K-Fest 2026.
Sponsored by Ministry of Culture, Caymanian Bay, Coca-Cola, Webster's Tours, What's On, and Radio Cayman.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, let me remind you who's in the studio. We have the Honorable Myles, Minister with responsibility for Caymanian employment and immigration. We have the Director of Work, Mr. Jeremy Scott. We also have the Deputy Director of Work for Compliance and Enforcement, Mr. Mervin Manderson, and that beautiful voice that you heard before we went to the commercial break is that of the Deputy Director of Pensions and Labor and Pensions. Sorry.
No, pensions.
Pensions, Miss Amy Wolliston. Yes, pensions. Yes. Okay.
Sorry, you made me laugh. You just made me laugh.
Okay, back over to you.
I was being all serious and you got me laughing.
Okay, we're getting your composure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh my goodness. So sorry, I lost my train of thought. We were before the break. We were talking about some of the responsibilities of the employer, and we were talking about paying the contributions over to the administrator by the 15th of the month.
Mm-hmm.
What people may not realize is if those contributions are not paid by the 15th of the month, they do attract interest, which the administrator is responsible in calculating. So one of the things we're doing now is working on a project to make sure that we have a system available to all of the administrators to ensure consistency across the board in that calculation. That's something that we're due to release probably in the second quarter of this year. So with Minister Myles joining us, we've been, or being the minister, I shouldn't say joining us, sorry. We've been fortunate that we've got a lot of support in terms of some of the projects that were desperately needed to be done.
Yes.
So he's been a real proponent of that, of making sure we get the resources that we need. Also from an employer's responsibilities, one of the things that's key is records. So an employer, and it's actually in the legislation already, 18A, if you want to look it up, anybody, has an obligation to keep records of his employment of his employees. It's called books and records under the legislation. And for example, here are some things an employer has to keep. The employment dates of all pensionable employees, payroll slips, all deductions taken from employees' earnings, all contributions paid by the employer to the pension plan, and the date of all payments made of those contributions. And that's just an example. The law has a whole list of things. Why that's particularly important is because our department, DLP, also has an inspection arm. Mm-hmm. And they come in, and in order to assess compliance, they come in and look at, okay, let me see your books and records. Well, they need to be books and records. The law requires them. You're required to keep them as an employer for 5 years. It's actually an offense not to have them as well. And that, as I said, inspection comes in, looks at those things, and that's another way we deal with compliance as well from that arm, not just reports as well. One of the things that's currently being considered in terms of records. So currently under the legislation, as I mentioned, the employer has to pay contributions to the pension plan. What the law does not expressly say is that a contribution sheet must also be submitted. It doesn't expressly state that. It is implied, however. One of the changes that is being considered at this time is to introduce the requirement for the contribution sheet. Let me explain why the sheet is necessary. If the employer pays $100, right, and all of us are listed on the piece of paper. Sorry, take it back. If the employer pays $100, but he employs all 5 of us, the pension administrator doesn't know who the $100 is for. Is 10 for you? Is 20 for him? Is 100 for you? The administrator doesn't know that. The employer knows that. The employer is the one who paid the individual. So the employer knows, okay, I paid this person X, 10% is this amount. That's what I'm paying for this person, right? If the employer does not provide a contribution sheet, which unfortunately employers do not provide them all of the time, then the administrator is basically in a quandary because, okay, I received $100. I received $100 for company X, business X, let's say, but I don't know who that's for. And then they have the problem of following up with the employer. Hey, you sent me $100. I don't know who the $100 is for, right? That can't continue because then they have money that they cannot invest. They don't know who it belongs to, right? And then going back to what I was talking about earlier, employee logs into their account looking for their $10 and goes, well, hold on, where's my $10? But the employer never provided the information in the first place for the $10 to be there. So as a result of that, one of the things that has been recommended is for us to explicitly say in legislation that a contribution sheet is required, right? Going on from there, the same records I've talked about the employer must provide. We're also talking about adding a requirement for payroll records to be shared with the pension administrator. Under the legislation, the pension administrator is receiving the 10%. They get a list of all the members. They get they should get a contribution sheet, right? And we know the amount is 10%. So the administrator is well positioned to look at, okay, I got a contribution sheet, I got a payroll record, and this is the person, and now I'm going to do an analysis, an audit you could call it, to make sure, okay, the person got paid $1,500 minimum wage, $1,500. Did the employer actually pay in the correct amount, right? You know the payroll, how much the person got paid because you have the payroll record. You see the contribution sheet, you know who it's for. Now you look and you see, okay, how much is actually being paid? And that type of analysis doesn't happen now, but that needs to happen, right? Because at the end of the day, the law calls for 10% to be paid. And that's how you determine if 10% is actually being paid. And as I said, the law does not call for that level of analysis now. So unfortunately, what happens in practice is an employer will pay whatever they want to pay. Some employers, as I mentioned, do the right thing. We're not talking about them, obviously, but there are employers who don't even pay pensions sufficient enough to demonstrate that they are paying their employee minimum wage. That is evident already. We already know these things, right? They don't do that. There are employers who, as I mentioned, send the contributions, don't send any paperwork to support it, so it never gets properly invested, right? These are all problems that we already have identified in the system. So we have put forward recommendations to Minister if we can make some legislative changes to address these things, because these are really critical things to change.
Are you finding during the course of your investigations that many of these employers simply don't understand what it is that they need to do, as opposed to being deliberately flouting the law?
I think there are some people who generally don't understand. Unfortunately, the law has been in effect more than 25 years, but not everybody is well educated on its provisions. And the reality is that our community is a diverse group of people from a diverse educational background. So just because someone may be a good plumber doesn't mean they're a good business owner, doesn't mean they understand how to operate a business. So sometimes it is a matter of, I was unclear. But unfortunately, sometimes it's also that they chose not to do. And we do have to take people to court in order to advance the matters as well.
Any type of assistance rendered to those employers, like workshops, or to keep them up to speed in terms of what's happening?
I'm smiling because That is exactly what we are working on right now.
Okay.
We, the pensions unit will actually be launching its public education in terms of individual training sessions in June. That's what we're working towards. And that will be an opportunity and anyone can enroll. Will be opportunity for employees to come, employers to come. Obviously, if a specific employer wants us to come to their office, then we'll do that. But we've decided to launch that in order to improve public education in the area. Right. We are already working on social media. Some of the other staff at DOP is excellent at social media and post all kind of wonderful things, which I don't know anything about posting, so forgive my ignorance. That is not my area.
Welcome to the club.
That's not my area. I just try to provide the information, and I'm like, okay, you guys go do your stuff, because I haven't a clue. But we have had a lot of help also from the ministry. The entire comms team in the ministry is really excellent. We recently put out our first brochure about the whole property withdrawals and how that actually works. We put out our first brochure, updated our FAQs in that regard. Let me also comment on our website. So a lot of actually everything I'm talking about now, except the legislative changes perhaps, all of the information is already on our website. If you go on the website under the unit section and then you can pull down which one for pensions investigation, everything I've just explained is already there. So it's readily available, but the reality is, people don't always go on the website. And I think people sometimes are more responsive to one-on-one discussion, to get a better understanding. So we will be launching our training in June.
And as far as compliance is concerned, can you speak to the relationship that you have with the pensions, for the various pensions?
The pension administrators. Yes, we have a good relationship with all of them. We recently had a meeting with them, with Minister as well, in order to discuss improvements that we want to make to the legislation and to get some perspective from them as well.
And how do you know when a company is delinquent?
They have to report that to us. They report that to us on a monthly basis. But like I said, there's also the option for the individual, the member, the employee, whatever you want to refer to them as. They also have the right under the legislation to report things to us as well. We have a form you fill out. We ask you to provide us with evidence to support these things as well. So those two processes feed into our investigation process.
Okay. One of our listeners has written in and pointed out that their opinion is that the 9-month or 6-month gap for temporary work permits not to pay pensions is a big incentive to not hire locals, and they're asking for that to be removed. Of course, you don't have a say in that, but
I'll leave that to Minister to come. That's a policy decision.
Yes. That's going to be brought to our caucus as well, if that's something that we want to go down the road to do. I'd like Eamon to go into more detail about this, because there's still some confusion that when a person works for one company up to 9 months and then they switch to another company, the second company has the illusion that because they're starting over, they don't actually have to contribute to pension for that individual, not understanding that the person has already been on island for 9 months.
Yes.
The second company now have to start contributing pension. And therefore, they have this idea, well, I'm the new sort of work permit holder, therefore, I put this person on a temporary, I don't actually have to contribute pension for another 9 months. So what we can have, and what I've seen from certainly the director and deputy director of immigration, we now have people who go from one 9-month work permit to another 9-month work permit, and they're here 2-3 years and never pay pension.
Wow.
So, Miss Amy can talk to that, because she's obviously seen it a lot more frequent than I have.
Right.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break first, and then when we return, you will hear that beautiful radio voice of Miss Amy again. Don't change that dial if you want to hear that voice. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. Don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superhero shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
What matters most to you right now? The cost of living, housing, jobs, healthcare, safety? The Cayman Islands government has set 7 national priorities for 2026 to 2028, focused on areas that affect daily life, from preparing Caymanians for opportunity to improving quality of life and social stability, to strengthening Cayman's long-term resilience. Learn more about the 7 broad outcomes at gov.ky/priorities. 7 priorities, 1 Cayman.
50 years of Cayman's Voice, the People's Station. Strong, dedicated, committed, where every story belongs. News, music, community events, and talk shows lighting the way. From Grand Cayman shores to the Brac standing tall. Little Cayman's heartbeat, we're here for them all. Radio Cayman, 50 years we stand. One people, 3 islands, broadcasting boldly into the future.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, the Honorable Micheal Myles, Minister with responsibility for Caymanian Employment and Immigration, Director of Work, Mr. Jeremy Scott, Deputy Director, Mr. Mervin Manderson, and Deputy Director of Pensions, Ms. Amy Wolliston. Back over to you, Ms. Amy.
Thank you so much. So before the break, we were talking about the 9 months provision under the legislation. So as I explained earlier, a Caymanian and a permanent resident are both pensionable immediately. That means on day 1, when they start working, regardless of probation, they are pensionable. You should be, as an employer, you should be giving them the enrollment form so they can fill it out and get enrolled. So when they get paid, their pension gets deducted and paid over. So that's very straightforward. What causes the most confusion, as Minister mentioned, is the 9-month provision. So the 9-month provision is applicable to anybody who is not Caymanian and not a permanent resident in their own right. So, if their spouse is the permanent resident, but they are not, it's still applicable to them. Okay? So you treat each person in their own right, which is slightly different from immigration, I know. Right. So but that's not my area. I'm the pensions person. Right. So for pensions, you treat each person in their own right. What their spouse's status is does not affect what their status is. Sorry, situation. I don't mean like immigration status. Sorry, let me not confuse people with my words. So for the 9 months, 9 months is applicable for, as I said, persons who are not Caymanian, not permanent residents. What the legislation says is when the person first comes to the Cayman Islands and starts working, that's when the 9 months starts. That might be 3 jobs ago, but it's when the person first came to the island and starts working. That's when the clock starts for the 9 months. After they have completed the 9 months, now that might be a 3-month work permit with one employer, a 3-month work permit with another employer, a 3-month work permit with a third employer. Or it might be, 9 months with one employer, or it might be 3 months with one employer, 6 months with another employer. However it came, Once they have completed 9 months of employment in the Cayman Islands, they are pensionable. The 9 months does not start over when the person changes jobs in any way, shape, or form. It is specifically tied to how long they have been working in the Cayman Islands. That's how it works.
Okay. This question here seems to be more for an actuary, sorry. But I'll read it anyway. It says, can Ms. Amy say how much pension payments are needed to ensure enough on retirement, and how can people contribute more?
Well, that's it's so interesting because we are actually in the process, the government is in the process of doing an actuarial study of the private sector plans. Okay, so for people who are listening and have some knowledge, you may know that that's normally done for a particular type of plan. But the government is doing it from the standpoint of the entire pension sector. Because what we need to figure out is exactly what that person said. Okay, here are our current circumstances. People are only paying 10%. I think intellectually most people know that's not enough. You know, regardless how long you're doing it, that's not going to be enough. We're only paying up to 65, yet people are living well into 80, 90 years old. Okay, that's not going to work. People are only paying on their earnings up to currently 87,000 CI, but yet we also know the older you get, while some expenses go down, other expenses go up. So you need to be paying pension for your entire career on a substantive earning amount in order to have enough in retirement. So what the government proposes to do is an actuarial study. And we've already started the process. We recently did a request for information in which we sent out some criteria, and we asked industry, and it was, sorry for clarity, it was available to local consultants as well as international consultants, and said, this is what we want to do. How would you approach it? What information do you need from us as a result, etc. So we've gotten 3 responses thus far, and we're reviewing those, and then the government will be issuing, assuming Minister backs me up here, he's the person doing all that money-wise, the government will be issuing a request for a proposal in order to have an actuarial study. And then coming out of that study, there will, assuming the government agrees, of course, be a change is being made. So the contribution rate is likely to go up. Not that I want to scare anybody, but it's likely to go up. We're likely to increase the amount that you have to pay pension on. We're likely to increase how long you have to pay it for. But all of those things are necessary so that people actually have a meaningful amount of money in their account when they retire for, going back to what I said earlier, income replacement, which is what pensions is for.
Okay.
If I can add to what Ms. Amy just said, there's two major things that the NCFC government is doing. The first thing that when I took over, Director Scott and I sat down with the chief officer, and a major thing that he wanted to do was he wanted to introduce a national immigration policy. We don't have that. And that governs how everybody applies the law. What normally happens is that we all interpret the law very, very differently. So his organization would be on the same page. That means that when an administrator gets a call, or a processor or a manager gets a call, they're looking at the policy. They can say to the community, here's what the law says. When the community, because all this is going to be on some website, right? If a lawyer, calls and say, hey, I want to know this information, we can say, hey, it's part of this law. It is actually something that's transparent. The next thing is looking at how we implement a pension process that is fair and equitable across the board. And here's what Ms. Amy said as well about this particular actuarial study. We currently have where hundreds of people are reliant on the government for retirement, right? That's a fact. And the unfortunate part about this is that we have people that will say, well, my business can't pay any more in pension. However, you're going to pay more in indirect fees, because those people have to be taken care of. So currently, we have a very sizable health insurance indigent bill. And that's because when those same people retire from the private sector, they automatically lose their health insurance.
Yes.
Well, their health insurance no longer is paid at a fee when they were in their 20s, 30s, or 40s. It's now paid at a fee when they're in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, because the Cayman Islands government, which is the people of the country, now have to foot that bill. That bill is extremely expensive. In addition to that, we also have folks that get to the age of 65, retire, or 70, and they retire, and they realize, I can't actually buy food. I can't pay my rent. I can't pay my mortgage. I can't live. So the government comes in and says, well, we need to help you. So therefore, they apply for the Department of Financial Assistance, and we give them long-term assistance, which is sometimes up to $1,500. That comes out of the government coffers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, health insurance, indigent health insurance, is anywhere between $75 to $80 million a year. That's what we're paying for indigent insurance. That doesn't include civil servants. That simply includes folks that simply cannot afford to pay their health insurance, whether before retirement or up until retirement. We also have a growing number of folks that are indigent, that are long-term indigent, that ultimately that depend on the Department of Financial Assistance to help them. That is an upwards now of anywhere between $50 to $65 million is what the Department of Financial Assistance pays to ensure that our people don't end up living on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Now, organizations can say, well, I just don't want to pay any more pension. Well, then we're going to go up in taxes. We're going to have to tax you because, as Ms. Amy rightfully says, there's no direct taxation here. We don't have income taxes, right? We don't have company taxes. Mm-hmm. Everyone pays a fee to operate in the Cayman Islands.
Mm-hmm.
So we're either going to pay one way or another. That's why this actuarial study is important. I don't want, and certainly my colleagues don't want to say, well, I think we need to go up on the contribution everybody now needs to start to pay 15%. It may not be that, right? Hence, this actuarial study can say, something, okay, we need to tweak this contribution by 2 or 3%. But it's facts that I can go to the public and say, here's what the actuarial study said. These people are professionals, and in-depth research has been done, and ultimately, and we could phase that in, but we need to start to make some hard decisions here, right? Our government is also looking at national health insurance because we cannot sustain this embattled, Synco, where Synco is paying hundreds of millions of dollars. You've heard Minister England talk about home health care. That is a growing phenomenon where we're now paying $11 million. If we bring everyone up to what the minimum wage is, and it was never intended to that, the services through home health care was tiered. It started off at $1,200, and then I think it went to $1,700, and then $2,000. It was never supposed to match the minimum wage. But if we bring that up to a minimum wage level, the country is paying over $20 million. So I enjoy when people ask for more, and we will help with trying to get more. Just understand, more comes with a cost.
Yes.
Right? So I just want to put what Ms. Ema said in perspective of what we're already paying.
Mm-hmm.
We're already paying that money.
Yes.
What I'm trying to do now with Ms. Ema's help and her team's help is to say we are going to have to probably review what those amounts are that people are paying towards pension, because as she said, people are living longer, and we have to make sure that they're prepared for that.
Okay, with that, we're going to go to our headline news at 9 o'clock, folks. Please stay tuned. The conversation will continue after this short commercial break.
Yesterday,
today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
The grand finale of K-Fest, Red Sky at Night, is tomorrow night at the Harkwell Grounds. The event kicks off at 4 and will continue through 11 p.m. There will be live music and other performances, a kitchen band masterclass, and plenty of local food. Tickets can be purchased at the gate. In international news, Iran tells the UK that allowing the U.S. to use British military bases will be considered, quote, participation in aggression, according to the Iranian Foreign Ministry. Downing Street says it is, quote, not going to get drawn into wider war. Israel has been hitting Tehran with airstrikes as Iranians mark Nowruz, the Persian New Year. Iran launched rounds of missiles at Jerusalem. The United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain all reported missile or drone attacks. A drone attack at a Kuwaiti oil refinery has caused a fire. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel will, quote, hold off attacks on Iranian gas fields after being asked to by U.S. President Donald Trump. And Venezuela's interim leader, Delcy Rodriguez, has replaced her country's senior military commanders one day after appointing a new defense minister. Announcing the move on Thursday, Rodriguez says the new appointments would guarantee Venezuela's, quote, sovereignty, peace, stability, and territorial integrity. The shakeup to Caracas's top defense team follows U.S. President Donald Trump's Venezuela raid and capture of President Nicolas Maduro in early January. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
At HSA, we strive to provide the highest standard of care with compassion, integrity, and dedication. And so we say thank you, Cayman, for continuing to make us the most awarded organization on island by voting us the best of Cayman Islands in 9 medical categories. Your support reminds us why we do what we do, to serve the Cayman community with kindness and excellence. To find out more about our award-winning services, visit hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going to continue our discussion about pensions with Deputy Director, Ms. Amy Wolliston. One of our listeners wrote, can Ms. Wolliston explain that pensioners that take their pension under the RSA can get more than a minimum of $1,040 per month, providing they have enough in their fund. There is a percentage formula.
There is. Before I touch that,
okay,
let me go back a little bit. So we were talking about the actuarial study, and we were talking about the age of 65, which is currently in the Pensions Act.
Mm-hmm.
For a point of clarity, the age in the Pensions Act, it used to be called the normal retirement age. That's what it used to be called.
Okay.
The term was changed because employers perceive a normal retirement age as when the employee must leave their business and stop working for them, right? And that is not at all what it means under the Pensions Act. There is no age under the Labor Act, so that is not at all what is intended. So the terminology was changed to the normal age of pension entitlement because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's the age at which the person is able to apply for their normal retirement, right? They no longer have to pay any contributions. They don't have to pay any, and the employer doesn't have to pay any. And if they choose to do so, they're considered voluntary contributions.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to make that very, very clear because that's not at all what it means, right?
Thank you.
Going back, you're welcome. Going back to the person's question. So there are 2 ways upon which you can receive funds from your pension when you get to retirement age. The first is an annuity. An annuity is from an insurance company. So you go to an insurance company, eventually you pay them over a chunk of money, and then they pay you on a monthly basis, right? That's an annuity, simplistically explained. But then there's another thing under the legislation, which is called a retirement savings arrangement. Basically what that means is your pension plan keeps the money instead of going to the insurance company for the annuity. Your pension plan holds the money, and the pension plan pays it out to you on an annual basis. We call that a retirement savings arrangement or an RSA. So that's what the person is asking about. So currently, the minimum amount paid out is $15,400 a year, which is $1,040 a month. So that's the minimum, right? Now, you get that amount, provided you have at least that amount or a little bit more in your account, you get that amount, right? If, however, you are a high net worth individual, you got $1 million in your account, that's not the amount you're going to get. We have a formula. Give me 1 second. I've got a little tickle. We have a formula on our website that explains you would get an amount that is determined by your age and your account value. So, for example, and I don't remember that off the top of my head. I remember a lot of things, but I don't remember that. So let's just say, you were entitled to 5%. So when you get to 65, your administrator, you're now 65. Let me look at your account value. It's $1 million or whatever. Okay, you're now entitled to 5% of that. That's not going to be $15,400. That's going to be a whole lot more. Mm-hmm. The next year, they will do the same thing. Okay, you're now 66. You're now entitled to 5.1% of your account value. Let me look at that. Okay, that's still not $15,400. So if you have a lot of money in your account, then you can get a lot of money out. But if you don't have a lot of money in your account, then that's where the $15,400 comes in. Let me also speak about additional voluntary contributions. So I was explaining earlier, the law only requires 10% to be paid, right? Anything paid over and above is considered an additional voluntary contribution. An employee can make them, an employer can make them. Either can make or both can make. For clarity, the employer is not obligated. So if the employee makes it, the employer is not obligated to match. If they match, it is by choice. Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you get to age 65, you are actually entitled to get all of your additional voluntary contributions in a lump sum.
Okay.
Regardless of amount. So if you are able and your employer is able to put in an extra 1 or 2% as you go, some of those payouts are actually quite generous. I've seen, well over $100,000 in additional voluntary contributions, and you get one check, $100,000. There you go.
So that is why I keep hearing people encouraging you, if you can put more in, do so in addition to what. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Because then you can, that is paid out to you in a lump sum. You can do whatever you want with it. Nobody's coming to police you. And it's for you. It's for you as when you get to retirement.
Hey, learn something today.
That was one of the questions that was asked. With respect, I think you asked me something about the actuarial study that I'll just repeat on the air.
Oh, yes.
That's okay?
Yes, sure.
Okay. OC was asking me for the actuarial study if it will consider that some people live in Cayman and other people live in a different jurisdiction. Well, because the actuarial study is about the Cayman pension system, our statistical information and assumptions will be based on Cayman. So, for example, with respect to the payout I was just speaking of, when we adjust that figure, which we do annually, we consider the CPI in the Cayman Islands. Now, the member might be in the U.S., Canada, UK, someplace else, but we consider the consumer price index in the Cayman Islands, which is issued, of course, by the Economics and Statistics Office. So everything will be based on the Cayman Islands.
So for those where the consumer price index is lower, they get a bargain, more than a bargain.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
They do. Some other things, if I can turn the topic a little
bit. Sure.
Okay. Some other things that are important for people to know. For example, for an employer, we were talking about all of their responsibilities. One thing that they're responsible for doing, which is really very simple and people don't do, is to update the administrator about the actual employees, the members. So, for example, when a person leaves the employment, right, the employer should be updating the administrator. FYI, Amy Wolliston doesn't work here anymore. You're not looking for any contributions for Amy Wolliston anymore. She left. I don't know where she went. Okay? The person, when they leave the employer, should make sure they update the administrator. FYI, this is now my email address. I'm not using this one anymore. This is my phone number. I'm not using that one anymore. The person should be updating the administrator about all these things, whether they change employer or not. But the employer should definitely be updating when people leave, when people join. So as I was speaking about before, enrolling the employee is important. But at the same time, the flip side is true. Telling the administrator, oh no, they're not here anymore. All of these things feed directly into the issue of compliance. Because pension administrators will report a business as being compliant. When we do our investigation, do you know what happened? The person never got a new trade or business license. It expired. And the administrator, the employer never told anybody. So we spend our time doing that, which frankly could be better served. But because the employer never told the administrator, we have to investigate that to see, is this an issue or not an issue? So it's important for the employer to realize that very simple things like updating the administrator on, are you still operating or not? Did you change the name of your company or not? Here are some new employees. Here are some people who left our business. All of those very simplistic things all need to be done.
Okay. Before we go to our next commercial break, Miss Amy.
Yeah.
All of the things that you've spoken about in terms of the things that you have to do, what you have to monitor, the amount of work. While we have Minister Myles in, I don't think he needs any prompting whatsoever. But how do you manage to do all of that? What kind of staffing do you have? Or do you need more?
Not enough. And hence why, we sat down and started to look at their staffing levels. Even, Mervin will tell you, his staffing levels are significantly low, and we have to be able, if we want to continue to look at the compliance issues that we have, the compliance issues that Ms. Amy gets, if we are not going to increase that, a lot of this is going to go uninvestigated. So I want to also just add to what Ms. Amy said about the lack of compliance. So about a week ago, I was briefed by Ms. Amy and her team through the director, Mr. Ebanks, and we have what was reported to me, over 2,100 companies that are delinquent in pension. Now that amounts to, because I asked what the cost is, what funds are delinquent. It was over $14 million. Now, based on what the director said, the director of DLP said, he's like, I believe that probably 50% of these companies have never renewed their trade and business license. So a lot of these pensions haven't been paid forward. For us to do all of those investigations, to now go back and force an individual who's no longer in business to pay for those pensions, we're talking about hiring an army of people. But the disservice that has been done is that the people that those pensions were supposed to go to, they don't have that in their accounts. So they don't have, they have no gaps in their retirement, right? And these are, I was happy that Ms. Amy talked about employees being more vigilant in actually going on. Because I think and I met with all of the pension companies, I think all of them actually have websites where the individual can log into their pension accounts directly. So they don't need to go to the employer to say, hey, can you tell me what my balance is? They can go straight to the pension administrator and say, hey, can you give me an actual, a statement, or can I get onto the website and you can kind of guide me through so I can set up where I can access it. I accessed mine when in my last company, mine was through Island Heritage. I can go onto Island Heritage right now. I haven't worked in my old company for almost a year now, but I can go onto Island Heritage's website and I can monitor my pension and I can make whatever changes that I have. I don't even need to call the pension administrator. I can go on and say, okay, I want to move this 5% over here in this particular stock, or in this particular investment. If we don't have that, if we don't have more and more people becoming more vigilant, we're going to have more and more gaps in pension. Hence, when people retire, they're going to be relying on the state a lot more. DEFA will go up. Our health insurance will increase because upon retirement, the largest expense right now is not CUC, it's health insurance, right? And health insurance is now just as expensive as a mortgage or a rent payment, right? We're talking about $2,500 to $3,500 in health insurance for people that are over the age of 60 years old, right? And if you have pre-existing conditions, it's even higher. Like I've seen health insurance as high as $5,000, right? And these are people who have, who has debilitating, diseases or disorders that they are now in a pickle that the Cayman Islands government, which is, like I want to make it very clear for our listening audience, the Cayman Islands government is not the politician. It is the people of the Cayman Islands. This is where the money comes from, right? I am an executive. I manage the money, right? I don't own the money. I manage the money on behalf of the people who elected me. So if to prevent monies from increasing in one particular area, this awareness have to actually be taken very seriously. And if you're not going to take your retirement seriously, your trust that the Cayman Islands government is going to have the money upon your retirement, you're gambling, right? And that's what I say to a lot of young people, in particular those that are getting into the pension, getting in to pay their pension. They see it as an annoying figure or an annoying amount or even an annoying expense that they actually don't want to do until something happens, right? So I just want to make that very clear. We have $14 million that delinquent that's out there that we may not be able to collect or enforce because many of these companies may have gone out of business, right?
With that, we're going to go to a commercial break. When we return, we're going to hear from the Deputy Director for Compliance, Mr. Mervin Smith. You heard his voice earlier, and you're probably saying, no, we haven't heard from Jeremy. We haven't heard from Mr. Mervin. So we're going to have the Work Director, Mr. Scott, introduce Mr. Smith and tell us about what he does, and then we will get into the compliance issues. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget, our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
It's back. It's crispy. It's delicious. St. Ignatius Youth Ministry presents Friday Fish Fry Nights. 5 weeks of flavor. February 27, March 6, 13, 20th, and the 27th. Serving from 5 until 7:30 p.m. at the St. Ignatius School Canteen. Dine in or take out. Menu includes fried or baked snapper $17 or mai $15. Served with fries or rice, coleslaw, escovitch, fritters, and more. Drinks just $1. Free desserts while they last. Eat good, do good. Every bite supports our youth ministry trip to the Steubenville High School Youth Conference in Orlando, Florida this summer. Come hungry, leave happy. See you there.
What matters most to you right now? The cost of living, housing, jobs, healthcare, safety? The Cayman Islands government has set 7 national priorities for 2026 to 2028, focused on areas that affect daily life, from preparing Caymanians for opportunity to improving quality of life and social stability to strengthening Cayman's long-term resilience. Learn more about the 7 broad outcomes at gov.ky/priorities. 7 priorities, 1 Cayman.
K-Fest 2026 is in full swing, celebrating poetry, film, dance, concerts, visual arts, and so much more. Follow Cayman Culture Socials to see it all. It all culminates on Saturday, March 21st with Red Sky at Night, happening at the Harkwell Theatre grounds, featuring local art, crafts, live music, dance, storytelling, interactive activities, and more. It's an event for the whole family. Pre-sale tickets are just $10 adults and $5 for children. Visit ticketsplus.ky to secure yours today. Red Sky at Night, the grand finale at K-Fest 2026.
Sponsored by Ministry of Culture, Camana Bay, Coca-Cola, Webster's Tours, What's On, and Radio Cayman.
Hey, new drivers, don't just drive, drive smart. Cynical and Inspire Cayman's Safe Driver program will show you how. Get real-life simulator training and classroom sessions to help you gain experience, stay alert, and avoid accidents. Learn to recognize risk, manage fatigue, and make smart choices behind the wheel. Certified participants may even pay less for Cynical motor insurance. Learn more and register at cynical.ky. Cynical, keeping Cayman covered.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. Don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Not only did my panelists catch me sleeping, but also my listening audience as well when I referred to Mr. Mervin Manderson as Mr. Mervin Smith, and I did it on more than one occasion as well. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Mr. Scott, Mr. Jeremy Scott.
Sure.
He can speak about the work that Mr. Manderson does, and then we'll hand over the mic to him.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Connor. So the compliance section is managed and operated executively, I would call it, by Deputy Director Mervin Manderson. The compliance section basically is made up of 3 sections in its entirety. We tried to replicate what a very strong and robust compliance model would look like. So we have complaints team that normally takes in complaints, then disseminates or filters and disseminates it to the law enforcement division. And then also we have a risk management team who then takes and looks at the activities, looks at it, gives us trends, gives us risks, and makes proposals, and also conducts audits, etc. We don't have a major team, but we have a very effective team. We've been working on trainings. We've been looking at our strategic goal, really and truthfully, is actually changing the way that we do business to more of a risk-based analysis, not just saying, okay, well, we're going to be more reactive than proactive. And I think that has served us well. I won't steal the thunder too much from Deputy Director Manderson, as he has some really great details in relation to what we've actually been doing. But again, our focus is actually changing and adding components of being very intentional with risk-based analysis, and then from there, then saying, how are we actually becoming effective in stopping the mischiefs and breaches from occurring before we actually issue facilities or work permits. And I think that is the move that we are currently dedicated to. So I'll pass the mic over to Deputy Director Manderson to give an overview as to what we've been actually focusing on and actually tackling for the last year.
Okay, Mr. Madison.
Okay. Good morning again, and good morning to everybody tuned in.
Maybe just put the mic a little bit closer.
Okay. But that's good.
Yep.
But obviously, from the beginning, I think the bar has been set high by Deputy Amy. She's been identified twice now as having the best radio voice. I'm not sure if I'll be able to match that.
Okay, you're really going to make me blush now.
I'll try my best to see what I can do from my side.
I'll give you some tips after.
All right, sounds good. We can always learn. So today I'll be covering some of the work that we've been doing to ensure adherence to the immigration laws across the Cayman Islands. Our work is delivered through 3 key areas, one of them being the enforcement team. We also have a risk management unit, and we have the complaints and marriage investigation team as well. That's the 3 teams that form the compliance team altogether. I think maybe we can start with complaints to understand how the information comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So thankfully we continue to see, a strong engagement from the public in regards to reporting concerns, and we're very happy that these reports continue to come in because they are critical in regards to helping us detect and investigate potential breaches, including fraudulent relationships and misrepresentations. So just for a brief understanding around the amount of complaints that we receive, and I'm thinking about it now and realize that I may have missed the walk-in statistics. This is just really mostly from the website. Over the course of the last, as I say, 2 to 3 years, we see a consistent pattern of anywhere from about 1,200 to 1,300 complaints coming in annually, averaging at least about 100 per month. Obviously, these complaints can vary from breaches, character complaints, organizational service complaints, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, the numbers have remained, pretty consistent. Jumping from that, then looking into the marriage perspective, the team conducts, again, this is all stats generally over the course of the last 2 to 3 years, just for the public's awareness. The team conducts about 200 plus marriage investigations every year, which has resulted in numerous residency applications being refused and revoked. This helps to ensure that individuals who are not entitled to remain in the Cayman Islands do not stay here and compete unfairly with Caymanians in the workforce. Marriage investigations are often the topic of public interest, I know, particularly when people refer to marriage of convenience, right?
Very true.
However, based on our experience, the vast majority of our cases, I would say approximately, 97, 98%, are not true marriages of convenience per se. Instead, they involve relationships that were initially genuine, but have since maybe broken down, where a couple are no longer living together, or maintaining different relationships, etc. It's important to understand that under the law, a marriage of convenience requires evidence that the relationship was entered into from the outset for the primary purpose of gaining an immigration benefit.
Yes, that distinction is important. Yes.
Correct.
Could you repeat that for us, please?
So it's important for us to understand that under the law, a marriage of convenience requires evidence that the relationship was entered into from the outset for the primary purpose of gaining an immigration benefit. This is very different, obviously, from a legitimate relationship that later fails, right? Mm-hmm. That said, the work department still encourages the public to report broken down or unstable marriages, as these situations may still impact the person's immigration status. Where sufficient evidence exists, their residency can still be reviewed and potentially revoked. So while the term marriage of convenience, I think, is often used, the reality, again, is that most cases involve genuine relationships that did not last, rather than deliberate attempts to circumvent the law. And I think that's an important message to drive home, because we hear very often where persons, when they're submitting their complaint, they submit the complaint under marriage of convenience, when in fact what it is they may know that individuals are out there who have had a genuine relationship previously, but maybe now the relationship has just simply broken down and the persons are no longer living together. And I just want to be careful of the message that we're sending, saying that maybe the Cayman Islands is flooded with a bunch of marriages of convenience, when that's not necessarily the case. So I just wanted to highlight that when it comes to marriages. Moving on to the enforcement activity. Our enforcement team obviously remains highly active across the islands. Investigations conducted over the course of the last 2 to 3 years average anywhere from 500 to 600. In the last 2 years, 2024, 2025, the results of these investigations have resulted in almost $500,000 worth of fines being levied, coming in at just about $435,000. The most common offense that we found, and this is pretty much historically, I think, stemming back to even legacy immigration per se, the most common offense we tend to find is persons who are working outside the terms and conditions of their permits, and or employers employing them outside the terms and conditions. Some of this again goes back to deliberate intentions. They know what they're doing, and in some cases, employees in particular are being misled by employers to believe that they can work in different capacities and so forth. So it's important for the public and everyone to understand that, especially employees, because they may find themselves being the first person who's liable, find themselves somewhere and being arrested and processed and have to face that undesirable position of going through, those processes. It's important for them to understand that whatever their work permit license says that has been granted, that they follow the terms of that license and not stray from it without seeking proper advice for us from, work personnel is what I would recommend. You come in and clarify. So if your employer is asking you to do something that you don't feel is within the scope of your occupation, for example, the best thing to do is verify with the work department and not trust your employer or trust the opinions of others who may not be as versed with the immigration legislation.
And most of these, the work permit infringements, are they discovered through information provided to you, or through investigations, through board complaints? Can you speak to that?
Sure. So it's a mixture. It's a mixture of a little bit of everything, I call it. So they're done from inspections. So we do inspections on the road, like construction sites, but we also receive a lot of information about it through the website, where persons who are working in the workplace, like many Caymanians, for example, are familiar that person shouldn't work outside the terms. So we get a lot of reports coming in from persons saying, hey, just want to let you know, John is working in my organization. He's there as the manager, even though his permit says, he's there as a store clerk. Just letting you know. But it's a varied amount of avenues that we receive this information from, through inspections and complaints being received. Lately, besides that particular offense of working outside the terms, what we've unfortunately also found over, especially the course of about the last maybe year or so, is there's been an increased trend in false representations and fraudulent documentation being submitted to the department. Obviously, Director Scott has made it very clear to the compliance team through policy and operational direction that this type of offense is a top priority for the compliance team, with sort of a strict zero tolerance approach. Providing false information basically undermines, the department's ability to make fair and informed decision, and allows individuals to enter the Cayman Islands under false pretenses, right? So it's a very serious offense, if you would imagine, and it stops our ability, if we're the gatekeepers, right, to the country with people coming in, and you lie to us to be able to enter those gates, you're able to come and play in the framework, in the good economic standing, in the Cayman Islands for a while. And if nobody discovers you, if nobody knows about you, that you've, not the best character, for example, maybe you have a criminal record, but you lied about it, for example, again, you're allowed to come and take advantage of the situation here in Cayman and, gain the benefits. So it's a very serious offense that we've, looking forward to continue to tackle. And in fact, if you look at the court activities in 2025, there were 2 Nepal nationals who were convicted, imprisoned, and deported for possessing and using false immigration work permit licenses. So I think that alone drives the message to show that for those of us out there who think that making false representations or possessing false documents may not be a serious offense, you can find yourself easily being imprisoned for it and not necessarily face, administrative fines and so forth. So you're obviously guided, and we're guided from compliance by our policies and then directions from the directors to how matters are solved when it comes to false representations. But I want to send a very clear message out there to persons who have or intend to continue to do that. If you get discovered, you may find yourself in very serious problems and facing, the full force of the law to the full extent. So we strongly discourage that behavior and hope that employers and employees would, do their best to be ethical.
I believe one of the questions that we had from one of our listeners had to do with verification of police records, was it, that we had? Huh?
Yes. So just to answer that, we know that that's an Achilles heel. I think legacy as to current. We have, I think it's about 120 nationalities. We have 40,000 work permits in the country. So it is critical. What we are seeing, we do have cases where persons enter here, obviously may have provided police clearances as a primary reflection of one's character. From your place of abode that you're coming from. But we do know that workers are very transient. They could be coming from other jurisdictions and have adverse history, criminal history at that. So we understand the need to minimize that gap and guarantee that there's some mechanism that we're doing to do background checks. We are working on that. We're currently looking at a procurement of a platform that is actually really effective alongside of our colleagues from Customs and Border Control, as well as, I believe, internally for government, actually vetting government employees as well. So we're working collaboratively with key stakeholders that will enable us to do that more effectively going forward.
Great. Minister, just want we know that you have a hard stop at 9:45, so I don't know if you want to take this opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to this, and I'm more convinced that this need to be a standard for the next 4 years of our ministry. Everything of what Masimi said, I heard the director said that he learned something new. I learned quite a bit as well, and as a former small business owner, I've always tried to tote the line. What I will encourage, and because a lot of this is what we're seeing is a lot of small business owners, not saying that big business aren't skirting the laws, but we see it quite a bit from organizations that probably have 10 or less people. In speaking with our pension administrators, they're seeing quite a bit of things come through. What we are trying to do now is build certainly a better level of communication with them. What the pension administrators are saying is that they really need to see enforcement, because they have a lot of companies that want to enroll and they're now put really at a disadvantage. Because what they now see is that companies under 10 employees are wanting to, what they're doing is that they get their trade and business license, they enroll in a pension company, and they never pay pension. And they're saying to us, we have to now start to look at this holistically, and we have to start to work together. So a lot of what Ms. Amy have said about looking at our laws, seeing where the gaps are, and now we're trying to plug those gaps. And she's done a great job in making a significant amount of proposals to the NCFC government to say, if you want this to improve, here are things that we legislatively have to do. Another thing that I want to encourage is really for employees to get involved in their pension, to really start to look at their pension statements. They are really the first line of defense, not DLP, not immigration. The employee's responsibility is to be very vigilant in what's going into their pension fund. We can't just look at this as, well, it's just something that I have to pay by law. We have to start to look at this in the next 30 years or 40 years upon my retirement. What sort of lifestyle do I want to live, right? And that's what I'm trying to encourage a lot of folks to also understand. We're also looking at shared responsibility as a government. What NCFC is doing is breaking down walls. Director Scott, Ms. Amy, is looking at how we start to reach across departments, reach across ministries. It's been challenging, and there's no dressing that up. We still have too many government departments that's hugging information rather than sharing information that these two organizations need in order to carry out their compliance standards. We can't have that anymore. With the new amendments that's coming in for immigration, it is a game changer. And I want to say this to the listening public. I'm not here to satisfy everybody out there. I can't. What we're here to do is make something fair and equitable across the board. I believe the new changes in immigration is going to do that. We couldn't do that without Ms. Amy and Director Bernard's support, because we don't want to put in something in immigration changes that's going to affect her legislation or labor legislation. So we have to start to do legislation, not in a vacuum, but holistically together. So there's a lot of work, and I want to let our community know, our business community know, we're not here to harm businesses. We're here to actually ensure that businesses are fully respected, that they're doing their part, protecting themselves, protecting their employees, but ensuring that the Cayman Islands continues to be a really great place to, one, host businesses, but also good employers, right? People want to work for really good employers that respect them, that appreciate the work that they do, that pay their pension, protect them against when in their darkest hours of a health scare, you want to know that your employer is paying your health insurance. Unfortunately, when you hear these people talk, a lot of it is about compliance. I would really like to come back on the radio station and start to brag about the great corporate folks out there that are doing a phenomenal job in hiring Caymanians, promoting Caymanians, that are doing a lot of good community work, that are paying their pensions on time, that are paying their health insurance, that people can say, you know something, I worked for so-and-so organization, I retired after 40 years, best decision I've ever made. Today, what we often find or see, and you would attest to this, these folks can attest to this, we find a lot of people who are just transient. They work for a company, it's a crop company, they work for another company. And in a matter of 4 or 5 years, you could work for 10 companies, right? Because people are hopping around to see, man, I just truly want to work for a company that just respects my skill set, respects me as a person, and is a really great company that's going to protect me certainly in my retirement and certainly my need of a health insurance issue, right? So these are all things that I'm gearing our organizations up to because it is a game changer. What NCFC is looking at is simply not having people suffer or have people exist in our country. We have to start to promote that people can thrive in the Cayman Islands, and that's not just the folks that get off a plane, take out a work permit, and are being paid a phenomenal salary. It is Caymanians that are coming out of high school or coming in from college that they can say, you know something, I own a piece of this rock too, right? It's not just for the rich and wealthy. That, unfortunately, has been the trend in our country where our people feel that they don't belong here. And it starts from us saying to them, compliance-wise, we're going to ensure that we enforce the law. The goal for us has always been is to ensure that every Caymanian thrives in the Cayman Islands. And if I can accomplish that in 4 years going forward, great. But this is where we're going, and it's going to start from folks in the front line, like the Deputy Director, Ms. Amy, like the Deputy Director, Mr. Mervin, like the Director, right? That is going to move these things forward. Yes, it's different. I say to employers all the time when they complain about, well, this wasn't done last year. I understand that, but I wasn't part of the system last year. I could only tell you what we're doing now to ensure that, one, your business is being protected, but our employees are also equally as protected. We have too many complaints from folks coming into the country or Caymanians going into the system that are saying, I am being treated like I'm less than human. And, and I don't want to give any, I don't want to scare anyone, but we have to change that. We have to change that perception. The goal is right now is that how do we ensure that businesses overall work with the Cayman Islands government and we all win rather than the folks at the top are winning and everyone else at the bottom are just being exploited,
that's
right?
the key.
So I want to leave the listening audience with that. It's always great to be on the radio. We are going to continue to do these awareness talks. And also, these people are telling you also what we're doing about it. Like Ms. Amy is telling you the challenges that we have in the system, but she's also saying, here's what we're doing about that stuff, right? Because I'm not here just to paint doom and gloom. I'm simply here to say we're working hard towards resolving it. And without adding an army of people to do this because they're not, everybody is saying, well, we don't need our cost of living to go up. So the government is always cost conscious of when we add people now to the system that they have to be game changers for these teams because the goal is protecting the Cayman Islands, protecting our people. Yeah.
Minister?
So thank you again. And
Thank you.
We will have another segment come in April as well.
Certainly. So the minister's leaving us. We're going to take a commercial break, and the rest of our panel will be still with us until 10 o'clock. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Calling all couch potatoes. Listen, we get it. The sofa is comfortable. But the truth is that a sedentary lifestyle increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, obesity, and mental health issues, potentially leading to premature death. We're just asking you to move a little bit at a time. The National Movement Challenge is about making small changes that will change your life. Your health matters. Let's step into wellness, Cayman. Log on to gov.ky/MoveItCayman to join the challenge today.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The Ministry of Education and Training invites eligible Caymanians to apply for a local scholarship for the 2026-2027 academic year. To apply for a local scholarship or learn more about the various scholarship offerings, please visit the Scholarship Secretariat's website at www.moescholarships.gov.ky. Applications close on Thursday, 30th of April, 2026. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education and Training.
Good day, farmers and valued customers. The Department of Agriculture advises that the Commercial Center, Plant Nursery, and Cayman Brac office will close early on Wednesday, March 25th to facilitate a team training session. All listed locations will close at 12:30 p.m. Normal operations will resume on the next business day. We appreciate your understanding and continued support.
Celebrating 50 years of broadcasting in the Cayman Islands.
50 years of music.
This is Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
50 years of life. We are the rhythm of the city.
Radio Cayman.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. Still in the studio with me, we have the work director, Mr. Jeremy Scott, Miss Amy, the deputy director of pensions, Miss Amy Wolliston, and the voice that you were hearing earlier, that of Mr. Mervin Manderson, not Mr. Mervin Smith, Mr. Mervin Manderson, and we're going to throw the mic back over to him to continue with his discussion, Mr. Manderson.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, so when we left off before the break, we were covering enforcement activities and speaking about the recent convictions last year for the Nepal nationals. So that's to tidy up and finish on that element. When it comes to court matters, there's also 6 other active investigations that we have pending in the courts, varying with multiple different offenses, working outside, again, the terms of the permit, unlawful payment of permits, and false representations. Other recent enforcement activities also include execution of search warrants, in particular leading to the arrest of a Filipino national suspected of immigration-related fraud, again, involving the collection of work permit funds and not submitting the relevant work permits afterwards. So that investigation is still active and pending. It's important for the public to understand that the work compliance team is not limited to just inspections on the construction sites. 'Cause I think that's a common thinking of sort of the general public is, oh, you guys are just checking these construction sites and whether you guys do this and do that. So I'm hoping that the picture that I'm painting here today with some of this information shows that it's not only that type of activity that we carry out. We also tackle more serious sort of crimes and so forth under the immigration legislation and multiple industries. Our enforcement, approach is fair. For example, we successfully secured a conviction, also, I believe that was last year, against a local law firm for failing to disclose Caymanians. So that also gained, I guess, quite a bit of interest for obvious reasons. But again, it's to send a message out there from the work department to show that nobody is exempted, from the law. Yes. And if you submit the information to us, we will investigate it. So you just have to trust in the system, trust in the department and all the staff that are there, because we're bringing the results. But we can't do it if you don't let us know. Precisely. So we can't investigate what we don't know about, right? Moving on to then the operations. So over the course of the last 2 years, give or take, the team carried out 42 proactive joint investigations, including working with our colleagues like the RCIPS, CBC, DLP, DCI, et al. We even expanded these operations as well to start including Kim and Brack with monthly enforcement visits, which was introduced, and we started that from, I think, August 2025. This has seen the operations in the BRAC have obviously been welcomed by the BRAC team, with the work compliance team not necessarily at this stage having a full-time staff member from compliance being over there. So it's been quite a while. We had some gaps in complaints being received or concerns from the boards that were being kind of forwarded but not necessarily being addressed. But we've taken that on, and since August started tackling that and supporting the BRAC team. We've seen, results leading to arrest of individuals, again, working outside the terms. We've seen multiple applications that were refused or revoked based on dialogue with compliance while they were over there visiting. And we also carried out several marriage investigations, again, based on information received. So the team is very active also as well in the BRAC and then the Sister Islands. Moving on then to risk management. So obviously the risk management team is a key part of our proactive activities. So the enforcement arm is more of a reactive element. The milk has been spilled, somebody submits a complaint, time to go and investigate. So pretty much from, again, late last year, early this year, speaking with Director Scott, we decided to take a more proactive push and push a little bit harder in the risk management team. So much so that I think we've increased the resources over there internally by about 100%, because the years before they only had 2 staff members and a manager. But we realized the importance of increasing the proactive measures, so we actually increased that to 4 team members working over there. This is mostly, or that unit's primary functions that we're seeing success coming from is the risk register. That's a system basically where we record and keep track of persons who are known offenders to the system, and we keep track of their information and also process their applications that they submit after offending.
And they're mainly employers.
So you have a combination of employers and individuals.
Okay.
I think the breakdown is we have 70 plus companies or businesses on that register, and then you may have about 30 plus individuals on the register. So we're actually seeing that the tracking of offenders and trends are more in line with employers than they are individuals.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So in between that system, and then we also reintroduce the work permit sampling scheme, which is just being proactive again in looking at applications before they get to the administrators, where we combine the two of those. Basically, we're looking at just about close to 700 applications that have been reviewed last year. Out of close to the 700, almost 200 were sent to the board with adverse findings, and all of those resulting in refusals of those permits. So you're looking at about a 30%, at this stage, about a 30% success rate with adverse findings out of a very small number of applications, because really and truly, this is just a matter of hundreds, but the work department receives thousands, right, every month. So we can only imagine, again, with additional sort of resources, hopefully in the future, we can have an even deeper impact, because what this does is it prevents non-compliant individuals or individuals who may have had ill intent with coming here under deception from getting to the islands in the first place. So the ripple effect we hope to see from that is that in the coming years, there should be a decrease in the amount of enforcement overall. So very successful so far with the risk management team. Building into all of this stuff happening, so we heard a lot of the statistics and results that I just produced, but we also look into, and we've been, I would say, very focused on development of the team over the course of the last 5 or 6 years. So this is not brand new, but just for an example as the team building and training to take us into the future strategically. You know, the officers receive training like fraud detection and investigation, human smuggling, travel document security, intelligence gathering, data protection and information management, officer safety training with the RCIPS, self-defense training with Krav Maga, and the updates on the recent legislative changes that are about to come into effect. So that's it. And this is just some, I think I just pulled out of the hat, I call it. I'm sure if I dig deep, I can find another 10 or 15 that the officers have completed. But again, it speaks to us investing in our teams to make sure that they have the ability to do their job as best as possible. I think from my perspective, that pretty much covers things on a high level.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate Mr. Manderson and covering quite a bit. As I think the overall message from WORC is that we're not there kind of fiddling our thumbs. We're doing some really good work. We're intercepting quite a bit of offenses. I think our strategy is in fact working. I think the more that we are pushing towards proactive detections at the beginning of an application process, that's really where it lies. I wanted to add, I think we had some stats in relation to revocations that would have been taken. Did you have that here?
Revocation.
I think I have it, but from the risk management team, and what we're actually seeing across the board. Bear with me 1 second.
Sure, not a problem. Okay, what we can do in the meantime, you can find that and you can include that into your closing comments.
Sure.
We're gonna because we're gonna have each person give some closing comments as well. I'm gonna start with you, Miss Amy.
Okay, I'm in the hot seat again. No, I just wanted to thank you for having me on to discuss, key responsibilities of employers and sharing that information with the public. It's important for employers to recognize that they need to fulfill their responsibilities under the legislation. Clearly, with the minister's very active support, DLP will be moving forward in more enforcement actions and making sure these things are done. There's compliance already underway. As I mentioned, we have our inspection unit who does things proactively. The pensions unit deals with a lot of complaints from various different sources. So it's important for employers to do fulfill their responsibilities under the legislation, and for employees to have a really proactive role and realize that they are important to the process too. So you can step up as an employee and not fear from your employer.
Great. Thank you very much. And I want to commend you for your extensive knowledge, in your subject area as well. We know that you've been, with the department for quite a while, and, lots of institutional knowledge.
Yes, yes, this is true. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Manderson, before your closing comments, what do you say to those persons who do register complaints and they say later on, oh, well, I sent this complaint in, but I never got a response, on that? That doesn't necessarily mean that you may acknowledge receipt of the complaint, but some people, their expectation is that you're going to follow up and tell us, well, what did this result in, even though it may not directly impact them.
Sure. No, that's a very important point. It's something that I've been working very strongly with the team about over the last several months. Obviously, being customer-centric is very important. And not only that, but it drives the confidence of the public to continue to report. There may be some gaps in there, if I'm holding my hand up to be honest, where it may not be 100%, but from what I do know, we've built in certain protocols. For example, when investigations are closed and concluded before they're scanned and filed away, one of the jobs of the assistant officer is to make contact with the complainant. But one of the main issues we find is 80 to 90% of our complaints are anonymous. So it's extremely difficult to get back to you if we don't know who you are. We don't know how to get in contact with you. But that said, we're also building in sort of disclaimers and maybe warning notices into our complaints platform in the future. So when you go online and you start to go through the process of making the complaint, it'll pop up with these, warnings saying, please note, if you don't advise us of who you are, we can't get back to you, et cetera, et cetera. But again, for the most part, we try to get back to persons as best as we can.
Great.
With some gaps.
Okay. Any more on your close?
Sure. Just again, very quickly, I would like to stress the point of employers and employees making sure that they comply with their work permit conditions, because again, it continues to be a big driver and one of the most common offenses that we're finding. So please pay attention to your work permit license and what's been granted. Also, I think we may have missed this, and very important, we know that over the course of the last few years, there's been a lot of scams going around talking about, opportunities for work in Cayman, and other persons are going out offering residence and Cayman status. So I'm advising the public to please, please, please be aware that the only authority who can grant you these permits is the work department. And if you hear, somebody offering something that doesn't sound realistic or sounds too good to be true, as they say, you may just want to verify it with the department before giving those persons any type of funding or whatever. Also, please keep continuing to report breaches to us. You can do that by going through the WORC website or emailing the WORC complaints email address, which is workcomplaints@gov.ky. Reporting continues to be important. We can't address what we don't know. And before I get into problems, I'd just like to finally thank all of my compliance officers for all the hard work and dedication, to their roles. Their efforts continue to make a meaningful impact to the community and the Cayman Islands. I just want to thank them.
Okay, and Director Scott, in your closing comments, if you could answer this question from one of our listeners, they want to know if you could advise if the commencement date of the new law has been confirmed as yet.
Yeah, so I think that's the burning question. I will say that the milestone has been set for the 2nd of April. I don't think that has been confirmed, but we're working very closely with the ministry on a daily basis in relation to the progress that is being made and the commencement date. I think, but the 2nd of April is the go live date at this point, subject to change possibly, but the 2nd of April is the date that has been shared with me. So in my closing remarks as well, again, what we're seeing, we're there being very proactive. We're enforcing the law. We're tackling areas that there's gaps. We're enhancing what we do. We're there also, not just obviously protecting Caymanians, but we're also there ensuring as well, because there's a lot of scams going on out there. I think Deputy Manderson mentioned that. And we want to appraise the public that they have to be very aware of these scams, because these scams don't just impact workers or Caymanians, they impact everyone.
Everybody.
Right?
Yes.
Exploitation is out there at a very high level, unfortunately, and I think our strategy to mitigate that at the beginning is actually working. So I as well want to actually share appreciation to our management team and our staff. They're doing an amazing job. We're looking at obviously enhancing and increasing our manpower so that we can actually have greater outcomes. But generally, we're asking the public continue to feed us information. We can't be everywhere, but we rely on the public's feedback to our WORC complaints channel. Website is there. They can go on and anonymously report as well how to make a complaint and just fill out information. Again, we can't get back to you, but we also understand it at times, and anonymity is important. So we ask the public to continue to feed us information.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you for making yourselves available as well. Some of you even didn't have to submit a deed poll application to have your name changed as well.
World Class Civil Service.
Exactly.
So we've gone way over the time. I just want to remind you, have a great weekend, folks. Don't forget to continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Mr. Charles Glidden Shallow at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to continue to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. Kirk Market, experience a world of choice. JN Money, from abroad to Yad. And Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
We are Radio Cayman, covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman,